You're watching a clip from Brewcast. So let's go ahead and get into the first video. Is there anything that you want to say before we get into this video that Brewer found for us, by the way? So Brewer is, the one to thank for all of the amazing stuff bringing us today.
Oh, just I guess the guy. Go ahead and bring it up if you want.
Okay.
That this is Kramer says. I've been seeing a lot of his stuff, and
It's November.
he does like 3 or 4 of these videos every day, it seems like. And this guy is definitely going full tilt on everything that's going wrong that you and I, at least as we show here. Basically what's going on with the country, and he's just very brash about it, which I can be as well. So I resonate with this guy a bit, and this video is just perfect.
So this is a guy like just leans into it and just because I am honestly a believer of just play into the insanity. Like instead of letting them double down for them and then see if they're like, whoa, that's too far.
No, he is just saying exactly what people are thinking in general, from what I can tell. He's one of those people who are willing to stick their neck out and say the things that people don't want to say. And this is basically what he does. There's like some of his videos get real heated, but he's a fairly down to earth guy. I think from what I understand, because I've only noticed this guy a couple months ago now, he actually did a podcast or something similar, like a show or whatever. And he stopped it for a while, probably because of what the Biden administration, stuff like that, was doing to a lot of right-wing commentators. But he started doing it again, and he's not got a massive following, but he's growing rapidly. So
it's up to 73K on Twitter. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you can have numbers for pronouns, but maybe that's just some newfangled thing. I'm joking.
What do you mean numbers for pronouns?
Those pronouns are 45, 47.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, gotcha.
All right, let's take a look at. Let's see what he says.
First, those EBT cards are empty. Let's see how things are going in the streets.
Come here, Pat. You run, you're in trouble. Oh! You try to hit me?
So hold on. It looks like a cop pulling up, and it says shoplifters crash. Okay, so this is a cop pulling up to person with a mask on, wearing a hat, a second person with a mask and a bag. Everybody's running.
You try to hit me? Did you just try to hit me?
And they get in the car, that, license plate. I mean, come on, people. Then they deployed the spike strip.
That's a spike strip?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And they got him.
That's him yanking it. Yeah, that's him yanking it across the road. Oh, wow. So that's where the car. Okay, so the car continues off into the bushes. You don't see anything like that.
Okay, go grab Sam and go.
Lay down on the ground now! Get down on the ground!
I'm glad that she was okay.
Turn around.
Yeah.
Turn around.
She didn't look as okay, but they're both walking. That's a bad day. Okay, so this is, oh man, there's a bunch of videos. I even saw one that I thought about playing today and would have gone perfect with this. Why are we seeing this? I mean, it's the EBT. Actually, there's more to this. Sorry.
On the other side of BP. So they all had to swim.
Oh, hold on.
We caught them because they can't really drive very well, and they drove the car off into a pond on the other side of BP. So they all had to swim to us.
Over candles. I feel terrible.
Why?
God.
We don't. This Flagler County, we don't play.
So they took 38 candles? Yeah. $1,000.
And that wraps up our case of burning the candle at both ends.
Oh, good line. That's a good line, man. Hey, you should reach out to him and see if he'd ever come be on an episode with us. I want to start inviting people.
I was definitely thinking about it. It's like he would be an interesting character to have here. So
just to have that type of personality in some of these conversations. Okay, so why are we going to see more of this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But one thing I wanted to point out is the fact that it was stealing of Candles,
$1,000
not
of
food.
candles. Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
why?
hey, listen. Hold on. I got you. Okay, listen to all of you people out there that are going to be stealing candles. Here's your excuse. Not really. This is not legal advice or any advice. This is not advice at all. But what I would say, allegedly, hypothetically, would be that if you get a clay terracotta pot, so you go to like, you want to get the candles with the terracotta pots, so that way you can have heaters in the wintertime, because it's going to be getting cold out, right? What these women were doing, stealing the candles, was preparing for winter. That's what it is. They were going to do a moonlight candle vigil for someone.
Yeah, but I mean, they obviously were gonna, take them to resell them. They're not just there to, do what you're saying. I know the joke, but it's interesting that during the first day of the EBT things, they thought it would be a good idea to try to steal candles instead of going and getting food, and that when there's going to be a heightened alert of what's going on, because there have been police that are staking out grocery stores in various towns
Wouldn't that make
around the country,
candles the
cities.
next easiest target because it's not food? All the police are somewhere
Yeah,
else.
yeah, but I don't know what store that they were in.
It's true.
But the fact that they were doing it that way, it's actually, yeah. Go to the toward the end where the lady's holding the bag. It'll actually say there.
Aeropostale.
Aeropost?
That's an Aeropostale bag.
Aeropostale. Okay.
That's a clothing store. That's like it used to be like a skinny, preppy person, expensive clothing store.
Okay. So their reasoning may have been to try to go in there and steal because people are going to be focused on the grocery stores today, or yesterday or whatever. So
No,
maybe that's the reason
no,
why.
I think that bag is just. I don't think that bag's
Oh,
for
what
the
they
store.
used.
The bag's what they
I
used to put it
gotcha.
in. Yeah, because
Okay.
you
Yeah, it
can
looks like
see in
it's
the
just
background
candles.
here. They just have.
Yeah.
It was just a candle store.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
I mean, I don't know
Anyways,
about you, but I don't ever really buy candles.
I don't.
I mean,
I have some, but
even if they were on sale, even if someone came to my door and tried to sell me like expensive candles for like $1 a piece, I'd be like, nah, I'm good.
yeah, I wouldn't touch them either.
I mean, interesting
And I
choice.
have some emergency candles, but that's about it.
Those are called
Anyway,
flares.
but not quite, but yeah.
But so I guess the world's in a complicated spot right now because of the EBT thing and the banking thing, and it seems like the right approach would be to stand tall and just say, "Hey, you're gonna have to figure this stuff out," and then the police, I guess, are gonna have to try to arrest all these people, but you can't. So when does that become a national security threat?
When the Koreans get back on the roofs.
What?
The Rodney King beating in LA, when that whole situation occurred, the black individuals who were doing, mostly black individuals who were doing the riots, were going through various different, the micro cities inside of LA, and they went to Koreatown, and they were ransacking then, like the whole area. So it got to the point where Koreans started arming themselves, and they were literally on top of the roofs. And firefights did break out, and there was one Korean that did die from it, and he was like considered a national hero, because he was helping defend, the different stores and stuff around there. So
That
the whole Korean community came together and basically fended off the most of the protests from entering and destroying their shops.
was that the old LA riots? Same thing?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the Rodney King beating. Yes.
Okay.
So when we get to the point where I say it mostly as a joke, but when we get to a point where people are having to stand on top of their roofs to defend themselves, to defend their property against, people coming and stealing stuff, I mean, that's when we hit a full-blown national security problem. And the problem is it won't just be contained to LA, it'll be everywhere.
Well, it's not just
And
that though. There's that's only one element of forces that would be a problem.
oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we'll end up touching on that later anyways, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of, and one of the many inflection points. So once we hit to that point is when we know we're in a really big problem. But I mean, honestly, I don't think it'll get to that point. I think that something's going to happen here in the next week that's going to give the EPT benefits back. But they did need, whoever they did for whatever plans someone has, did need them to shut down, and we're going to see some kind of plan unfolding this week. I think
I
don't
I
idea
think
what, but
I think I saw a post that Trump was gonna push for the Senate to end the filibuster.
yes, to go into nuclear option. It's a problem. I mean, that's a good thing and a bad thing. But if they do employ the nuclear option, it would end it. The problem is that later on the Democrats will go at crazy with it if
Yep.
they ever were to get back into power. That's a problem.
Okay, I think we need to be
So,
fucking honest though. The next time they get into power and they have the same levers again, they're gonna do it anyways.
yes. Oh yeah, that's what
So
everyone's saying. That's what
whether we
all the
do it or
people,
not,
political pundits are saying.
yeah, whether we do it or not, there's no incentive to not do it.
Yep,
That's the
I
thing.
agree.
Like that's fucked up.
Yeah. So, I mean, we didn't cover, and I can show it here, but a quick sidebar is that I did see a post or video of one of the Congress people, I forget from which state, was a Democrat, talking about how President AOC, is going to, if she wanted to, when she's president, to conduct strikes and kill people this in the same manner that Trump is engaging narco terrorists out in the middle of the ocean. So the senator conflated a narco terrorist with an American.
That sounds
So it
about
just
right.
kind of shows,
That sounds like a typical Democrat. I mean, it sounds like half of the
yeah,
Republicans too, if you're honest. But
yeah, it's just getting to a point where people are okay with murder and it's escalating, and that is a situation that I don't think a lot of people can truly grasp how that is going to transform this country in a way that is not going to end well for over a decade. So, but
well, I mean, I think that will. I don't see the pieces for it yet, but having the ability, I don't know, that'll tie into censorship at some point. The control.
yeah. Well, since we're kind of talking about this a little bit, it's when something happens, it's going to happen overnight.
Oh yeah.
And
Or in the middle of the night, like it
um,
usually does.
well, what I mean is that basically right now, majority of the country wants to be left alone, right? I'm sure you saw one of my posts that I
Yep.
did about that quote,
Yep.
and
Why don't you read that
that
quote for
is
everybody?
I was going to, but to kind of preface it, this is what is going to happen. I think it's gotten to a point now where the people who want to be left alone are going to be forced to act, and when that happens, the world will not be the same. The last time that happened, like a really good example, is the Crusades. And I'll just read the quote after that. The most terrifying force of death comes from the hands of men who wanted to be left alone. They try so very hard to mind their own business and provide for themselves and those they love. They resist every impulse to fight back, knowing that forced and permanent change of life that will come from it. They know following the path of least resistance is a walk to extinction, which is why, when forced to take up violence, men who wanted to be left alone fight with unholy vengeance against those who murdered their former lives. They fight with raw hate and drive that cannot be fathomed by those who are merely play acting at politics and terror. And I have seen this firsthand when I was deployed in Afghanistan. So when I say that people do not understand, you do not understand what will happen. And the ethnicity that encapsulates this the most over anything else, anybody else, you want to guess who it is?
Mm, probably white people.
Correct. White people want to be left alone mostly. But if you force their hand, you get the British Empire. You get the Crusades. History
You get the
is
United
rhyming
States.
right now. Yeah. So we're about to see what's going to happen when people are back into a corner. The people you don't want to back into a corner, because the whites are the minority of the world. We make up 8% of the population now, 8 to 12%. I forget the exact number. So that might begin to change if people continue down the path they're at. I so hope I am wrong, but I see it. I see too many lines being crossed, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that was a good ad. Yeah, well, I mean, to lead us straight into the next section, people that don't want to be left alone, or people that should never be left alone, are our politicians. So I know that, it's going to be obvious at some point. Like I'm very close to Detroit. It's not hard to find me. So Dearborn is actually very, very close to Detroit. So this is a politician from Dearborn, Michigan, and I know that we discussed this on some previous episodes. Seeing as how I said I would get involved in local politics. So if it's not that far away, maybe I could drive there and, go participate in their city council or something and say hi. But this is Louis Rossman. I know that I keep bringing him up. It's because he's doing shit right, and he deserves to be spread as far as possible right now. Honestly, like I'm telling you, man, the first political party to take up this cause will become the predominant political party after the next 4 to 8 years. But let's just go ahead and let him introduce the idea, and we'll hear from the words from the politician, and then that'll kind of lead us into where we're going with the rest of this section.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Today,
loud.
I want to play you something that a politician in Dearborn, Michigan said, and I want to see if you can tell the messed up dystopian part about what he said before I point it out.
I said I would vote for this every single time, and I'll say it again. Camera technology and your expectation of privacy when you're driving around is none, and there is no expectation of privacy when you're driving a stolen car. You don't have that expectation. That's the law of the United States.
Law of the United States.
I'm going to ask you that question. What did you pick up on it?
Probably the fact when he said none. You have no expectation of privacy when you're in public. None.
So okay. So now the primary topic that we've been dealing with lately with Lewis has been the flock camera systems, and they are here. They are in the area. They do exist. This is a politician saying that you have no expectation of privacy because, I mean, essentially he's assuming everyone is a criminal with the way that he worded it.
I see what you're saying.
The mindset.
Yeah, because he did immediately say if you have a stolen car, so he is painting with a broad brush.
If you have an expectation of privacy, you don't on a public road. That's not true, because whenever these laws came out and they were derived, we did not think about having AI technology that could track you everywhere that you go.
Yep.
But that goes to show you the mindset that exists in I'm pretty sure, entirely Muslim city council, primarily Muslim police department, and I'm pretty sure majority Muslim or largest population of Muslims in the United States in city, in a single spot. That's where we are. That's the mindset that exists. So that's just to say that the politician that got elected to say that was put there by people that think like that, or were tricked into believing that he didn't think like that, maybe. But it seems to track more along the lines of probably they do think like that, just based on other examples and things that we've seen just in the last couple of weeks. Do you disagree with that?
Well, not at all. To kind of add more to that point is I just connected a dot. All those, of course, there's everything that's happening with the UK and the grooming gangs and everything else. To kind of use that as an example, that there are been interviews being done of the Muslim migrants, and they were saying, like, one was saying is like, I ended up raping a 14-year-old girl, and he's sitting here talking about this on fucking camera. She's like, I couldn't control myself because she was pretty and everything else. They as a culture, don't really have much of personal accountability or anything else, just from, my observations, personal observations. And so they, as a society, have decided that Big Brother control is needed because we cannot control ourselves.
Because they cannot
So,
control themselves.
correct. That's what I mean. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was talking about from their perspective.
Yeah.
And they, and this is the consequence of it. And because they just, from a very young age, are never really taught that self control. It's always the system, it's always Islam that is the control. And I think that's one of the major differences between, Western versus, Middle East cultures, is that we are taught the, consequences of actions. Well, maybe not so much right here,
Not so much
currently,
anymore. Yeah.
but in the past, I mean, when I was a kid, I mean, in the 80s and early 90s, it's absolutely was consequences for their actions. My dad made sure to beat my ass once or twice to
Same.
make sure that I knew there were
Same.
consequences to the action, and
Yep.
I deserved it.
Yeah.
So
Now, see,
but
now hold
because
on. We're on that point. Can you look back on that time, or in that moment? Did you know that you deserved it, or did you look on it
no, I
later
did
and
not.
came back?
Oh, yeah, actually, like later and came back. Yeah, especially. It wasn't probably until I was in my early 30s till I truly understood, and
Amazing.
which just goes to show that, lessons early impact you later on in life, just like trauma early will impact you throughout the rest of your life. But I am firmly in the belief that everybody needs to have a little bit of trauma in their life, not, over the top, which I'm not going to go into examples of, but a little bit in order to ground them inside of reality. But I'm not, there, because God, that's a whole topic in itself, is quote unquote healthy trauma. But that's a psychological discussion for another day. But yeah,
I'm gonna traumatize you. I'm gonna traumatize everybody right now.
here we go.
I can't resist. It's just too good. It's just too good. Wait, hold on. We'll get back to serious in a second.
Oh, when the coup was happening.
Yes. I remember watching that whenever it first hit, and it popped up the other day. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Oh, it's fine. It's good to break it up. But yeah, trauma.
You were saying a little trauma is good for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, look at Gen X versus millennials versus Gen Z, and Gen Alphas, I think, is going back up, but I think I think it's started going up with late Gen Z, but it's just the amount of the lack of discipline which occurred, and millennials, our generation. Well, I'm considering myself more Gen X at this point. I'm kind of in between, but the millennial generation, as they got the younger millennials, definitely have a problem with self control. So,
I
but it's
do.
starting to pick back up with Gen Alpha, though, majorly with Gen Alpha. The night and day difference between the generation of millennials and Gen Alpha is crazy. They're the most racist generation since the 50s, quite honestly.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I don't fault them for it, because what's happening? I mean, it's. I mean, I don't, of course, don't agree with racism, but they see the writing on the wall, so and they're acting accordingly. They're not going to allow themselves. They're not allowing themselves, I should say, to be told that they are a problem when they have done nothing to cause it. So they're just pushing back on it, and they being non-whites have created a generation of racist whites. And like I just alluded to the quote before, when you start backing us into a corner, there's going to be a problem. And this isn't a threat, this is a warning, but they're not listening. So,
well, they also don't care, and they also openly still call for violence, and they think it's funny.
yeah, and it's going to bite them in the ass, because the
Oh,
problem is that it's a powder keg. Like we keep using that term, and the match is lit. It's about to be thrown, and people don't understand that. And there's even Canada right now. There's about to be a massive problem for them. So
interesting.
I'm warning,
Tell you
but
what,
no one's listening.
you give that warning 4 tabs, and I think we can revisit it.
4 tabs, sorry.
Mhm. four tabs for on the four more topics, and then I think we'll
Oh,
end up back
gotcha,
on
gotcha.
it.
Sorry, misunderstood your meaning there. Gotcha.
Yeah, what I wanted to just call attention to here was the location, the mindset, just to kind of get us in the maybe the framework that exists, because a lot of stuff is happening now. A lot of conversations are happening around Muslims and the different types of people on the media and people's interpretation of things. And I'm really grateful for Elon buying X, just because it seems like it has made a very big difference in being able to expose lies, like just outright lies. But there's also like the monetization aspect of X too, that some people are not happy with, because it incentivizes you to lie just to get attention. But I mean, at the same time, if you're someone that can take down those type of people, those accounts, and I think that we're getting better at identifying those people and stopping those accounts early, because those are the ones that they get random bits of traction, or they just build a believable enough logical fallacy or stack of logical fallacies to go viral, to make a narrative. And then all that does is waste valuable time.
Yeah, there's also something else happening with that too. I don't know if you're going to cover this, but people are making accounts in general and building up an audience, and then they're either selling them or they just switch the account over to something else. And so they have like 80,000 followers, but they just changed the name, deleted a lot of the previous stuff, and then boom, they start posting other stuff on a completely different topic. And it's to make money. So so people are actually grifting a huge amount right now. And I know Elon is trying to tackle and trying to figure out a way to overcome the problem, but it is monetization is the core problem there.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, I don't know if that's something you could ever rely on AI to do, and I feel like they're hard committing, like most companies are in the AI direction. But you meant,
Possibly.
I mean, just because of
But
Grok, like, if you have Grok, wouldn't it be a good thing if your AI was trained to do more stuff that you want to do anyways?
yeah, I mean, to remove people, human conscious bodies from the equation of censorship or moderation, probably be a better term for this one.
And if that was successful,
Yeah.
would that not create a perfect blueprint for like a global security policy to police people?
Yeah, but that will turn into actual think crimes, and we'll have the Minority Report. And if you know Psychopaths, the anime, that is an eventuality if we're not careful. So you got to be, well, Psychopaths plot kind of different than AI, but anyways, that's a whole other topic. But the thought crimes, and they'll begin to be able to scan you in order to figure out your criminality. You actually have a score, and if you have too high of a criminality, you're basically booted from society.
Like a social credit
So
score.
similar, but not quite the same. But yeah, it's the same general concept.
All I just need to make sure is that my Neuralink has Wi-Fi access, and then you can scan away.
It's actually one of the reasons why I will never get Neuralink. I don't care, whatever. I mean, I will be one of the 10 people on this planet, that aren't jacked into the interwebs at 24/7. I like my autonomy a little too much.
Would
And
it be
considering,
would it be a different situation if you were quadriplegic and it could give you the ability to walk again?
oh yeah, absolutely, I'd get it. But that's an extreme situation. That's not that's the edge case trying to prove the point, which
It's not the
is
entertainment
false. It's a
value
fallacy.
aspect of it. It's the function and practical use of it.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. Like,
Okay.
I'm not going to do a Ghost in the Shell type scenario. I mean, that's just, and to me, it's absolutely insane. But I'm also 42, and once you're set in your ways, you're set in your ways. So I'm just the old man on the porch yelling at the kids to get off his lawn type situation. So,
It's always good to learn new things. It keeps you flexible.
oh yeah, but I'm not gonna. I don't have any tattoos. I don't have any piercing. I'm not gonna have anything foreign in my body. If I can have, like, maybe a stent if I need it, but that's about the extent of it. So.
Okay. So you'll be okay. So we need a very good way to get you a tattoo. Got you. Kidding.
Nah,
Kidding.
not gonna happen.
Kidding.
Yeah, I know.
All right. So we mentioned we got on the Muslim topic, we got on the media topic, and the grifting topic. And I know that, like, I I think that I've decided that I'm going to start punching a lot harder whenever I'm punching up in terms of just like engaging. I don't think that, and I just mean like if there's someone of like 10 viewers, I'm not going to like put them on blast for something, right? But if the person has millions or is making money, a lot of money, that's kind of fair game to express my thoughts.
I don't see why not.
It still feels weird just because I don't want to ever come across mean, but sometimes you just kind of have to be honest, and even if it
with me
sounds
and
mean.
yeah, well, my whole thing is kindness and trying to be kind. I mean, I'm not always successful at it, but I'm definitely, working toward that goal. But there is a limit to my kindness. And I guess to kind of go back to the quote I did before, once my kindness limit has reached, I kind of turn into what that described, not to like the full extent of, fight to the death type thing, but
Right.
I definitely, my unholy vengeance can come out, but it just happened very rarely.
Yeah, but I mean, let's be honest. Like, what the fuck are you supposed to do?
Exactly.
Here, just continue to beat me and stab me and kill me and like just have at me. I mean, technically, and this is honestly, this is my one of my major pet peeves, as far as like inner struggles regarding like the whole religious aspect of Christianity. It's like, oh, just forgive them. Well, how many times am I supposed? It says turn the other cheek, so does that mean twice? Like when it like where's that
That's
line?
a good discussion.
Where's that
Yeah,
line?
that's actually I think I told you about before. I had a discussion with my old pastor a couple of
Yeah.
weeks ago about kind of if, let's say an Islamic invasion actually occurred and they did get a foothold and they came to this little town that I'm in and they come here to, convert or die type situation. Like, what do we do as, Christians? And more specifically Lutheran Christians, because I was a part of the Lutheran Church until I left it recently for other reasons. And I'm still friends with the pastor. And he basically said, to martyr, you become a martyr in the eyes because you're not supposed to, use violence and everything else. And I just look at him and I asked him, it's like, well, if they came here, because he has 4 children
Mm-hmm.
and they were about to, take them out, what would you do? And he froze. He couldn't respond
Mm-hmm.
because he was then conflicted between being a pastor and being a father. And then he sat there, and I think he didn't really answer the question because he didn't really want to say what he would really do
Oh.
because it'd be against, being a pastor, which he would being a father. And so basically I just came to the conclusion that there are going to be a lot of Christians who will just roll over and die. I will not make a comment any further than that. Hey,
Well,
Cypress.
I'm gonna add something to that. It actually adds on to the end of it. You don't need to freeze in that situation because even if you go back to the 10 Commandments, right? We can take it back to the Old Testament. Thou shalt not kill. There's 2 different words used in the Hebrew language for kill. One means to kill, or like one is to kill, one is to murder. So to murder would be to be the aggressor to do that, and then self-defense would fall under the to kill. So you would be defending something, like defending yourself, defending your family, and that's where some of those conversations end up or go to, I think.
Yeah. Yes. And I actually did kind of bring that up, and I think I actually convinced a pastor about biblical principle. And although he didn't say it, directly, but that's kind of my point is that if actually I think how I used it was from a different angle, where it's saying like we're supposed to be here, like Christians are here to worship God, and that is one of our fundamental reasons for existence as a Christian. But we can't worship God if we don't exist. So if we defend ourselves, so we may continue that worship, is that because that is a part of the Bible. And he was like, that's an interesting perspective I hadn't thought about before.
All right.
So
throw in free will.
Yeah. And the way I kind of see it too is considering that we are instilled with the instinct of survival and self-preservation, protecting ourselves is self-preservation. So I don't think that, the creator is going to get overly upset with us if we try to exist longer in his creation, and would forgive us for, fighting back to protect ourselves. And if we end up committing murder in the not really murder, but, killing the other person in the process of self-defense, I don't foresee, you know, the creator getting overly upset with us.
This would be an interesting
So,
time. This would be an interesting conversation to get into with one of the pastors that I know, because he's very informed in that direction. He
yeah,
seems very good. I'm gonna see if I can get him on sometime.
yeah, I'm for it.
So I want to turn us back in the direction we were going, because we went up in the Christian direction. We're going to draw attention back to the framework that we set up with the Dearborn politician, kind of
Yeah.
how he perceives things, or how he is actually to this day ruling or engaging with the public government, doing the government things at a city level, I guess. But I wanted to take a look at Mehdi Hassan's own words, and this is a post from Libs of TikTok. And apparently, well, we'll hear it from his own words, but apparently Mehdi doesn't like that this video goes around. I don't know why. So this
Push the
says
volume.
Mehdi Hassan on non-Muslims like living animals.
In Islam, the ends do not justify the means. This idea is totally alien to Islam. In Islam, what is halal, what is haram. We do not bend our law, our morality for our short-term aims. Never. And we never lose the moral high ground. If we know anything as Shias of Muhammad, as Shias of Ali, as Shias of Hassan, as Shias of Hussein, we know that keeping the moral high ground is key. Once we lose the moral high ground, we are no different from the rest of the non-Muslims.
He makes a very good point right there for everybody to understand, especially when it comes to like understanding the precedent with things. Your moral high ground matters. That's, I mean, the more, like, if like, let's look at Charlie Kirk, for example, right? The moral high ground that was lost by all of the people virtue signaling and all of these, all of these people fighting for rights and freedom and all of that stuff. Well, they lost a lot whenever Charlie was, murdered. Same thing will happen. And I mean, that's why you don't see the right, or at least what most people consider the normal right. Because I believe that once you get towards the far right and the far left, they're essentially the same. So it makes the argument for one side or the other always accurate, because people on the far right, if we look at history and all the framework, would be, Hitler's the easy reference. But now we have on the far left the people that are just willing to kill you just because of your thoughts.
Yep.
So no matter what direction you take it, you just have to look at the extremes. Or you just, they use the extremes. But this is where I think we're going to have America's going to have an issue, especially whenever we include the activism of, feminists, the young people who may be uninformed or not really be experienced with the world and some of the realities of it. There is, I think they're going to try to assume the moral high ground for most of the conversations and topics, and I think that that's going to end up aligning with the porn ban, with the censorship conversations. Oh well, Christians think this is bad, but we think this is also bad. Let's ban it. And I think that Michigan's going to be a really good state to watch this happen. I just wanted to add that in there.
No, it makes sense. It's a good point.
From the rest of those human beings who live their lives as animals, bending any rule to fulfill any desire. Once we do that, we are lost.
So it's the danger of that is there's truth in what he says, but if you also look at the framing of it, he's like, what is halal, what is good, what is bad, what is bad, and they will never change. And they will do anything that they need to make that change possible, to fulfill Sharia law.
Yep. Including lie and deceive.
That is called taqiyya. That's one of the 5 or 6 ways.
Islam, To believe is to know. To disbelieve is not to know. That is what it fundamentally comes down to. It is to remain ignorant, to cover up knowledge. After all, what is kafir? Kafir comes from the root word, which means to cover up, to conceal. The kafir is the one who covers up that knowledge which is clear. The French Orientalist scholar Lamens, he once wrote that the Quran is not far from considering unbelief, disbelief, as an infirmity, as an illness, as a disease of the human mind. Subhanallah. Non-Muslims point this out to us.
Okay, sorry, it's kind of hard to hear, but the line I wanted to point at was actually kind of obscurely written just because of the pixelation. It says kafar comes from the root word, which means to cover up, to conceal. A kafar is one who covers up the knowledge which is clear. Interesting. Isn't that what a grifter does? Isn't that what grifters do? Like they obscure or cover up knowledge, even though it's like everyone's like, hey, this is fucking obvious. And they're like, no, trans women are women. No, they're not. They're different.
Yeah, but that goes into, like you're talking about the monetization aspect from before, if you think about it on X, as well as, you know, trying to, it's a brainwash technique as well, is to, if you say something enough, eventually people begin to believe it, or at least say that they believe it in order to follow the crowd. And over time, especially when you start looking at the next generation, as kids, you know, are brought up, they don't have that context yet as an adult would, to know that they're doing this just to fit in. They actually begin to believe it to their core, which is one of the reasons why you see this escalating, you know, trans and gay movement, or amount of people who claim to be trans and gay going up. And it could be because, you know, people are more open and willing to accept it, so people are coming out more. But at the same time, it could also be because of you know, ideological influence from a young age.
I think
so
it's
there's the argument from both sides.
I think it's the second one, with a little bit of it just being like popular, like being presented as popular and cool. Because remember, like I grew up, there wasn't a whole lot of like LGBT anything. Like it was just gay at the time. It was gay rights. And then it was, okay, well, now we need to include these other things. But the same thing that happened, because it was like, oh, it's cool and it's edgy to be gay, and I get the attention and I get validation. And then whenever that started to wane, a perverse, I guess what it appears to be, a perverse co-opt or astroturfing of the situation, where trans was brought in, and that's the new cool thing. So it's just like, kind of like, oh, goth is cool for this generation. Now this generation is something else. But now we've just gotten into like body modification to be part of culture, and that's fucking insane.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's something, you know, we could talk about for probably years at this point. But yeah, 100%. So,
and that's also not to put down people that legitimately suffer from having real problems. But I would have a hard time engaging in a conversation with someone that wouldn't be like, yeah, there's definitely someone out there that's doing it just for attention. If you can't like come to that level of, hey, we're on the same page on that, you don't really have anywhere to go from there, I think.
Yeah, you have to have the baseline. You have to have the understanding of even the edge cases saying, because it's not, again, going to the fallacy of an edge case is the proof, you know, or whatever, but you can use an edge case, those edge cases as, whether or not they actually are edge cases, but use them as a baseline of understanding between two people of different ideologies.
Right.
The problem is right now is the left is refusing to even acknowledge some of that stuff, which is part of the reasons why there's not very much discourse between the right and the left right now. Actual discourse.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so we're going to keep the idea on Mehdi. I had a thought, but then I lost it because I didn't want to interrupt you. It's fine. It'll come back to me. So Mehdi was on CNN, and this is a post, and there was a guy named Ryan James Gerdusky who told a joke. Now, it might be an off-color joke, right? But let's go ahead and play that quick, and then we'll...
You're called an anti-Semite more than anyone else's table. Yeah. And people would sit there and... No, by me. I never called you an anti-Semite. Okay. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying... I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it. Yeah, well, I hope your beeper doesn't go off.
So I'm a supporter of the Palestinian. I'm hoping your beeper doesn't go off. And then the panel loses their mind. They're like, you shouldn't say that. Well, I mean, it's kind of funny. I'm not going to lie. Like,
Yeah.
it's an off-color joke, but it's kind of funny because the guy just admitted, hey, I support Palestinian. And well, I mean, the reason that he's referencing the beepers or the pagers or anything is because the Israeli forces ended up getting, like, beepers ended up being used by the forces, by Palestine, by Hamas. And then they had like an explosive device inside of them and they were all detonated at certain times. Or people would go up to like a bunker and then they'd put in like their code, but that code would set off like a detonation. And then it was military stuff between Israel and Hamas. So like I don't agree with doing that stuff like that naturally, but when it gets from the real world aspect this far down to someone who promotes the ideology, it's funny because, like, in order for something to be funny, part of it has to be true, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's where. But I guess what is your takeaway on this?
From which, like you did talk about a lot there. Perspectives pertaining specifically to what?
Let's just start with just the clip, the joke. Let's just start with the joke.
I mean, it's gotten to the point where you can apply humor. I mean, people are making 9/11 jokes. People are making jokes about Charlie Kirk. Whether or not I agree or disagree with them, honestly, doesn't matter. Everyone has the right to make a joke, even if it's at someone else's expense. The right to be offended is something that is only allowed in free societies. And if you're unable to come to terms of being offended, then you need to go to a place that is, quote unquote, less civilized. Because unless you're able to accept that other people can make jokes at your expense, and be okay with it, if you're unable to do it, then you're just, you should be able to, if you can dish it, you can receive it. It's kind of what I'm trying to say.
If you can dish it, you can receive it. Hold on. You can dish it, you can receive it.
And remember, say thank you.
Okay,
yeah.
So there's a meme going around of JD Vance, and for some reason you just said playing into it or joking about yourself. It seemed to fit.
Yeah. I mean, well, of course, the current White House administration is the memes are on point. And there's even people on the left now that are coming out saying that these memes are hilarious. So they are actually reintroducing a lot of that humorous discourse back into the American culture, and it's a good thing. And people who are getting offended by it need to get offended by it, quite honestly, because it's highlighting that maybe they could be, maybe they're wrong about some things. Because the only reason why someone would actually feel offended about what anything says is because it might actually apply to them.
No.
So, yeah.
No way, dude. That's no way.
So when someone comes out and says, I'm offended, what some people don't seem to realize is that you have just admitted that whatever is offensive applies to you.
So you only get offended if part of it's true?
Correct.
So offense in comedy. Oh, interesting. I see what you're
kind of
cooking.
Funny how that goes together.
Yeah,
which is one of the reasons why, as you got authoritarian regimes that come up, comedy becomes outlawed.
That's why. That's why memes and free speech are so important, because that's how you counteract that. Even though it's the shitty side, because memes are super effective. Because laughter is super effective.
Yeah, it's communication. Comedy is one of the oldest forms of communication, and without it, you begin to get controlled. If you can't say what you really want to say, then the court of public opinion is never applied, and it's only the government court that is applied. So, which then is controlled by very few people, and it's obvious. It's just authoritarianism. So But the fact that he made that joke and then the panel of CNN
CNN
started going crazy.
Here, let's watch
it
that.
It just shows the ideology.
Let's watch the aftermath of it. Let's watch them freak, because Mehdi gets pissed off and leaves.
The
I think.
thing is that
you just say I should die?
You should not.
No,
Did you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that.
Did he say that he should be killed?
No, and this is what happens a lot, is people then inject their own bias into the meaning of what someone else says instead of looking at what was said. So the fact that that individual immediately said, "Oh, you think I should die," is because that is what he was thinking about somebody else at some point. Because people who jump to conclusions like that, or jump to one specific type of frame of reference, is because they themselves have that frame of reference. And people like he's immediately coming like, I didn't mean it from that angle. No, that's not what I meant. And then I'm sure the other guy or Mehdi's going to come back saying, yes, you did. And basically gaslight and to say that this is your meaning because I say it's your meaning. And this is something I am very acquainted with because I was on the bad side of this for a very long time. So I see it from a mile away now.
All right.
And I've come to really understand how it works.
Let's play it out and see if you're right. Let's see how this goes.
Mm-hmm.
No, I did not say that.
Hold on.
Did your guest just say I should be killed on live TV?
I said I hope
Guys,
you're...
let me just stop.
See?
You hope my beeper doesn't go.
Yep. I was right.
Guys, let me just stop.
You said you hope my beeper doesn't go.
You said you hope my beeper goes off.
No, he says he hopes your beeper doesn't go off. So he's also misrepresenting the argument.
Am I what? No, of course I'm not.
Or misrepresenting the saying, I should say.
Right, yeah.
Are you a racist,
So he's-
violent person?
Are you a racist, violent person? There's the victim.
Yeah, and then he apologized, even though he should not have.
Nope.
Because he now is giving the individual validation that he was correct. So, don't ever apologize. If you apologize, you lost the moral high ground. Like you were just saying.
The right way, I think, to handle the joke situation this was for him to say it and then just to sit quiet and then be like, is that what you really meant? And just be like, you heard what I said. That way you're not giving up any ground. And if you own that situation, like, yeah, basically what you're saying, if you start to concede ground by saying, oh, well, I'm sorry, you're right. Well, you're giving up your argument then.
Yeah, and he lost at that point, has no credibility. He lost all credibility for that panel. I'm pretty sure for the rest of this, he just, whatever. And then, like you said, if Mehdi gets up and, was that Mehdi or is it Hassan? Mehdi Hassan?
Mehdi Hassan is on the left. Yeah, all my favorite people's last name end in Hassan.
Yeah, it seems to be. But yeah, and he gets up and leaves. So that is also a show of moral high ground and holding on to the power because he technically now holds that power as he leaves and can't lose any of it because now the other guy can't really, confront that power.
It's winning the conversation and leaving, so you can't be contested on any of it.
Correct. Correct, which is a coward's move, but it's effective in the general populace.
Say the Muslim guy should be blown up.
I apologize.
On TV.
Don't say then I apologize. You literally.
I thought you said Hamas.
You didn't think
See, they just took it and ran with it.
Yep.
So this is nothing more than a manipulation to paint someone who did not intend for the meaning to be that. I mean, there is an argument because hope your patriot doesn't blow up, but he's making a joke. But the fact that they just dove so deep into it and not allowing someone to express themselves in a humor, but he's not directly calling for violence. So they're misrepresenting the whole situation. And this is what CNN does, and does it constantly. MSNBC is just as bad. Fox News does it as well. But it really, I guess, depends which perspective you're looking from to see which one is worse or not. But yeah, this is just an example of how the media and how people are manipulated so easily now.
I'm gonna play this out though.
Why? Because when you hear
What's funny
Palestinian,
is Rudy Giuliani said this yesterday, so you're a great guest to be here to defend Rudy Giuliani.
And he's bringing in someone outside to the situation that does not apply.
Here's what I will say.
Forget the racism.
That's right.
I should die.
I didn't say that. You
said,
die.
what does beeper mean? Don't
No.
give me a
See, he keeps going with it, refusing to relent, not giving up the moral high ground.
It's because it's a thread that he can pull on, and he knows that he can win the argument. So all he's doing is flaming that. All this right now is just flaming the situation. There's probably people in there saying, no, keep going with it, keep going with it. Because there's a production room behind what's going on, guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Don't call us Nazis, but I'm going to threaten the brown guy as a terrorist and kill him.
Because I didn't ever say Donald Trump is Hitler.
Fucking Christ, sorry. I'm just, that always pisses me off when they start going down those roads.
I want to come to the Nazi rally. I don't have to make up words and call you something. You're saying it for yourself. And what you just said right here.
See, now they're misrepresenting the whole thing.
They'll take anything that you can out of reference. See, that's what I need. I think that I need to start making posts asking for people to be mean to me. You know,
what do you mean by that?
Just so I can get thicker skin, because I want to be prepared for crazy shit like this.
No, I mean, I'm not even worried. I guess if I've been canceled before for stupid shit. So, and the fact is that every single time or something I've been canceled for in the past, you know, I was right in the end. Like the COVID vaccine and everything else, I was right.
Yep.
Might want to bleep that out just in case, but
nope.
Yeah.
I was right too. Trust me. I will sit down with you anytime and we'll have a COVID conversation. I guarantee you that episode will have trouble. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it seems like it's okay to talk about it mostly now, as long as we claim that we're not doctors and we're not offering medical advice.
Correct. But I mean, I just even questioned the validity of the vaccine. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because I know what mRNA was and knew it back then and everything else, and I didn't like it, and I even brought it up in a guy's Twitch chat, and he went off, and I won't tell that whole story again, but yeah, so I was right. And in the end, I was right, and to this day, he has yet to say anything or anything else, because he was one of those people, I will come out and say that I am wrong. He hasn't. So whatever.
Yeah, you can't be the type of person that says that and that not own it. I mean, I think I'd do a pretty good job with that. I don't think you'd be here if I wasn't, if I didn't.
Well, you know me. So.
Yeah. So the next section that we're going to kind of shift this into, I want to do just a quick recap. You know, we had, you know, the Dearborn politician. We had kind of the overarching ideology and efforts by, you know, people in the media, or someone in the media, jokes being taken, words being misrepresented. And then we can also circle back to Michigan, back to Detroit, back to guess where? Dearborn. This was from yesterday. So this came out on the CBS Detroit channel yesterday. And I'm just going to go and play this super quick.
And we continue to follow a story out of Dearborn, where the FBI says it stopped a potential terrorist attack from happening this Halloween weekend. 5 people.
I want you to tell me what you don't, if you notice anything funny.
Between the ages of 16 and 20 are now in custody. CBS News Detroit's Heath Kalb is live outside the federal district courthouse with what we know and how residents in the area are reacting.
Yeah, Shayna, it was very early this morning when the FBI raided 3 homes, 2 in Dearborn and 1 in Ixter. Now, law enforcement has said that there is no threat to the public anymore, but it was still a shocking morning to the residents living in those neighborhoods.
I mean, they're our neighbors, so we wave and say hello. I never would have thought that I would have been living among someone that's a terrorist, you know? It was really scary.
5 people are now under arrest after FBI agents had raided 2 homes in Dearborn and 1 in Inkster in relation to what they're calling a potential.
Just, you know, Inkster is southwest of Dearborn. It's almost connected to it, or it is connected to it, as far as like city wise.
Yep, they're not showing the ethnicity or even the names so far.
Yeah.
Terrorist attack that was planned for Halloween weekend.
Now, I just got to ask you, what's the predominant ethnicity in this area?
Well, considering you said it earlier, isn't it Islam?
It's Muslim.
Islamic or
yeah,
Muslim?
It's Muslim.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to be really, really interesting if, in fact, that is the case. But we've seen this before in other cities where it was like black crime and they don't release who they were. I'm going to go find out who this is.
A member of the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force was reportedly first tipped off after seeing 2 of the 5 suspects making plans on what they're calling an online ISIS chat room.
I don't know why they feel like they can be a threat to other people. That's not how the world works.
Residents on Middle Point Street in Dearborn, where one of the 3 raids took place, told us it was a loud and traumatic morning.
We heard at least 15 to 20 gunshots. It was really scary, you know. It just sounded like we were at war right there, you know.
Authorities say the 5 suspects were inspired by a former member of the Michigan Army National Guard who was arrested in May for allegedly planning an ISIS-inspired attack against a U.S. Army site in Warren.
We're going to back that up and listen to that one more time.
Yeah.
Who was arrested in May for allegedly planning an...
You know, it just sounded like we were at war right there, you know.
Authorities say the 5 suspects were inspired by a former member of the Michigan Army National Guard.
Former member of the Michigan National Army Guard. I'm pretty sure I know where the closest barracks is of theirs.
Who was arrested in May for allegedly planning an ISIS-inspired attack against a U.S. Army site in Warren. They also...
I remember seeing that. Oh, what the... I never saved that post from that back then. I saw something about that. So would this be copycat?
Possibly.
I think we're missing information because we don't know anything about the people involved.
I do.
Okay. Did you find something?
I don't remember the names, but I did come across something, and they were Islamic Muslims. So they were. I don't remember seeing anything specifically about motivation, but it was specifically targeting people celebrating Halloween, I believe. I could be wrong, but to the information that I have, but that I saw, again, I'm being very careful here, was that they were Muslim.
Okay, so can you make a note for us? I'd like to actually follow up on this because this is something that if they're obscuring it, this absolutely needs to be brought up. This needs to be, yeah. You can't hide the identities. I can give you the identities of the kids, but if these were Islamic, if these were white people, their faces would be plastered all over it. Because black people, maybe not, but in this area, probably.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, crazy. Michigan is a shit show, apparently.
I wouldn't say just Michigan, but
well, I'm trying to be responsible for what I can participate in. You know,
yeah,
I can care about all the other places, but you know, this is something that I can legitimately go engage in and learn about, and participate in.
Yeah. My little area, thankfully, doesn't have anything too crazy going on, and I'm honestly very insulated from a lot of what's going on because, I mean, I'm over an hour away from any major city. So very little happens out here and everyone's always looking out their window and keeping tabs. So, I mean, this is a like stereotypical small town. So we have our small town problems, but nothing like this because it wouldn't get to this point because people would have already acted.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I grew up in, you know, BFE, you know,
yeah,
bum F nowhere. I've also lived in, you know, LA. I've lived all over the country, in cities. And I don't think like the convenience is nice to go like walk like 30 feet and get a burger from somewhere. But honestly, if you can make food yourself, it's just better. Like making my own burgers. I can make like 5 burgers for the price it would take for like one going to McDonald's. It's not even close anymore.
Yep. Yeah, I should honestly be cooking more for myself, but a lot of like prepared meals and stuff like that is what I eat currently. But still, even that is cheaper than going out to restaurants. And there's only like 2 restaurants in this town, actual restaurants. Yeah, there are exactly 2 actual restaurants in this small little town, and one is ran by the guy I don't no longer speak with.
Nice.
So, and the other one is just complete crap. So I don't go out and eat ever, with the exception of the cinnamon roll from the coffee shop. So
I love cinnamon rolls. Yum.
yeah, hers is good too. Anyway.
All right. So
Oh God, this bitch.
Yeah, this post, this Welch lady, Jennifer Welch. This post from Colin Rugg. I'll just go ahead and read this, and then we'll play the video. It says, liberal podcaster Jennifer Welch suggests the Dem establishment needs to get on board with wanting conservatives dead, or else far leftists will come after you in the same, a quote, after you in the same way that we come after MAGA. And you remember how at the beginning of this episode, I said that like the Muslim interest would align with Christian interest. Well, what we see online right now involving a lot of, like, on Twitter at least, is the push for online privacy. And a lot of that, or let's just look at Collective Shout. A bunch of old, well-to-do white women getting involved in politics, trying to nanny the world and to, be mother to the world instead of mother to their families and their children, or whatever they, essentially that. But I think that what I'm trying to say is the overlapping ideology, or their lust for, or their openness of, we're going to destroy you, and the fact that nothing is done about it. I mean, like, how can you not look at some of these things and say, they're literally trying to kill us and they're telling us, but we're just going to sit here and do it. And that circles back to that conversation about Christianity. Are we just going to fucking sit here and get killed? Anybody? Yeah.
Yeah. So it also kind of goes to the point too, is my quote that I spoke earlier is people want to be left alone. So they will do whatever they need to do in order to not change that, or ever get to that point, unless they're absolutely forced to. And that is something that, again, the left, I don't think truly understands. And so they're going to keep pushing because they're seeing results. But what they don't see is that they are filling up the glass. And when that glass eventually breaks and all that water comes rushing out, it's not going to be a good time for them. Because there's a lot more people who are just want to be left alone than are of them. Sorry. So, and they don't know that. They don't realize that. And because they're just too stuck in their echo chambers or little spheres in their head in the sand to really pay close enough attention, because they're getting what they want right now.
Yeah, and they'll continue to do that because it's built around soft power and control.
Correct. But when they lose that power and it all comes crashing down on them, they're not going to that they don't know what's coming. So
it'll be interesting to see where this pieces line. But let's hear this really remarkably intelligent woman educate us on what we need to do if we're Democrats. Yeah.
One thing is happening just in New York, and you think people are waking up only in New York City, you're mistaken. Look at this clip of a wine mom at the No Kings March. Play the clip.
His name was Charlie Kirk, ma'am. Yeah, him's horrible.
So that's that Liberty something. That girl. She right here on the right.
Oh, her. Yeah.
I can't remember her name. It's Liberty something. She's very.
I don't remember it either, but yeah, she's one, basically the primary online female right commentator or whatever, interviewer going around right now.
Yeah, she goes to like the street stuff and she actually asks these people what they think, but she engages with them versus just getting them. So yeah.
Right. Yep.
His name was
Charlie Kirk, ma'am.
Yeah, him's horrible. Horrible.
Charlie Kirk is horrible?
Yes, I'm glad he's not here.
You're glad he's dead?
Yes.
Why would you say something like that, ma'am?
Because he was horrible on the campuses, the college campuses.
That's the extent of her fucking argument. I'm glad he's dead because he was on the college campuses.
And horrible and racist and...
You know what?
She doesn't even add that stuff. That's just the extent of her knowledge.
I do the exact same thing.
Well,
would you be glad if I would die?
Maybe.
That was... Yeah, I remember seeing that part. Yeah. That's...
Maybe.
What is that term?
Psychopathic?
Well, yeah, that's probably the best one for it. I was trying to think of a different one. But yeah, it's just straight up like, yeah, psychopathy. They're completely okay with doing whatever it takes to get what they want. That is a psychopath, so... Yeah.
Fucking insane.
I'd have to think about it. It should be a
Sorry, go ahead.
Liberal women. So it's just a white liberal woman. It's suicidal empathy. And yeah, anyways.
ashamed of yourself.
Be ashamed of yourself.
Your friend.
Look at her on the left. Look at her face. She is happy. She's really happy about that. I'm sorry. Like, I can joke about, I can laugh at the joke that we talked about a minute ago with Mehdi, but he wasn't actually being serious. He was like, I hope that your pager goes off and ends you. Like, okay, that's a completely different story.
No, he said, I hope your pager doesn't go off.
Well, I just mean, like, if he would have meant it in a way that he was serious about hurting them, this woman saying this to this girl means it. She's totally fine with, oh, maybe I'd be happy if you're dead too.
Yep.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, there's a clear difference, a clear delineation between humor and intent. So
I hate to say it, but I keep seeing examples like this, and I keep trying to track back, and it's going to be probably an inappropriate conversation, but repealing the 19th may not sound like a terrible option because I'm not seeing too many positives. Right?
Well, that's something I explored for a while, not necessarily because I believe it or disbelieve it, just kind of what was the movement about.
Right.
And the irony of it is that women are leading that movement.
Yeah.
So
wasn't it women who led the argument for gay rights and who led the argument for trans rights and for the schools? And
oh yeah. Yeah, it's I mean, I've again, just from that, within that framework, it's you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. And the more you allow from within the repeal the 19th framework here, the more you allow women to have a voice and have a say and be considered equals in public discourse because they're primarily ruled by emotions versus logic, then the more that they will continue to take, because it feeds that emotional, how do I say, emotional drive to get what they want and to be happy, because they are literally fighting against their own internal maternal instinct.
But it's also because they deserve, and I think that's where one of the home eth things.
Yeah, deserve. That's probably a better way to say it. Yeah, I agree.
Since they aren't able to nurture their own, they're trying to nurture everyone else.
And within their own ideology and refusing to even accept or look at other possibilities. So, yeah.
I guess what I never understood about the feminist argument, and I've started to see posts like this pop back up too. It's all like you could sit at home and play with the kids and take care of the house. Like, if there's any rich women out there that want me to do that, like, I'm on board. Let's go. I can totally be a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to stay where I'm at and not be married. So, yeah, you have fun. I don't give a shit how much money a woman has if she tries to enter my life.
Oh, I was joking about the money. I'm just saying, like, if I could be a stay-at-home like dad, like, I don't have to go to like the office. I don't have to. Fuck yeah. Like, I'm sorry, like, feminists, like, women screwed women by convincing them they needed to go get jobs. Like, y'all fucked up.
Well, I mean, that's how that actually started. I could actually, that's a whole episode in itself. I guarantee that. But for, the Cliff Notes, it was actually started with Rockefeller. So it was all about trying to get more people into the workforce, to have lower pay, and to make also people unhealthy, because it's like this is a whole
breaks down community, and
this.
It breaks down the nuclear family.
Well, it's to siphon more money, because eventually, specifically just talking about one aspect, which is the health, if you don't have good home cooked meals and they have poisoned the food in this country, which causes you to get sick, and you can even add the vaccine bullshit into it. I mean, this whole grand scheme that has been going on for the last century in this country, and it's all about siphoning money out of the lower middle class to the upper echelon. So
And that
But
gives,
I mean, that, again,
does that
in
give
itself
merit
is an
to the
episode.
people who fight? It's like, down with the rich people, pay their fair share. Is that where that ideology
No.
comes from?
Well, no, that I would argue. I mean, yeah, I guess within a certain framework, yes, what you're saying is a possibility. But there's also another framework that I would say, not me personally, but the framework would say that it's shit. What was it? More about just I want free shit. That's what it was, versus not down with they should pay more. Is that I want to take what they have without actually earning it. So there's that framework to consider too when it comes to the rich should pay their fair share when they actually do.
Yeah.
The income tax that is actually paid within this country, 90% of it is paid by people of the top 20% or something like that.
Yep.
I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's a vast majority is paid by people who make more than $150,000 a year.
Yeah, and they're in like the 50% bracket or something. Like half of your money goes to taxes if you're wealthy.
That's over 10 million, I believe.
Okay.
But I don't remember the exact bracket range, but yeah.
All right, well, let's continue. I want to continue. Sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, that's it. You're good. You're good.
Okay.
Just said she'd be happy if I died.
I think we need to.
And then her friend thinks it's funny. Hey, the good thing is you only have to wait around a couple of years and she's not going to be an issue.
Yeah.
That's
So
insensitive.
listen
but
up,
it's
Democratic
true.
establishment.
This is where she sends the message. So this is what I really want to cue in on.
You can either jump on board with this shit or we're coming after you in the same way that we come after MAGA. Period. Stop taking AIPAC money. Go on an I'm sorry I took AIPAC money atonement tour if you want to stay in power. Stop missing out on these big rallies. Hakeem and Chuck should have been front and center introducing the next mayor of New York City, but no, they wouldn't show up because they're pussies. They're pussies that are beholden to the same corporations that helped Donald Trump get elected. And this is just an embarrassment. Kudos to Bernie.
Is she reading something?
Go back. About, yeah, right there. It's fine. Not
I'm
too
sorry
far.
I took AIPAC money atonement tour if you want to stay in power. Stop missing out on these big
Yes, she is.
rallies. Hakeem and
Or at
Chuck
least
should have been
cliff notes or
front and
bullet
center
points.
introducing the next mayor of New York City, but no, they wouldn't show up because they're pussies. They're pussies that are beholden to the same corporations that that helped Donald Trump get
She wasn't
elected.
reading then.
And this is just an
Not there.
embarrassment. Kudos to Bernie,
Not there.
to AOC,
There.
to Zora.
Yeah, she's referencing
There.
something. She has talking points.
Yep.
That's fine. I mean, that's normal to have for a conversation, but I just wanted to look at it. But essentially that's a threat to all of the Democrats. But this means that, to me, this means that her ideology, her approach is going to align with the Communist Socialist Party or the left wing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So-
Without a shadow of a doubt.
What's that going to do to Democrats? Because I mean, is that going to force more Democrats to vote Republican, or I guess unless the far left is like excised or exorcised? Is that right? Exorcism? Yeah, exorcised. Excised.
Or yeah.
Removed from and the moderates become the new Democrat Party. I don't think we'll have a framework without that, because if there's no reason not to believe her, and there's plenty of money behind it. But this gets rough.
Well, what the thing about it is that she is definitely trying to pull as many Democrats as she can to her whatever position that exists over on the left, however far it is, whatever. But problem is that there are Democrats that are now actually moving to the right because they're actually seeing the truth behind what's happening in the various different aspects of Trump, whether it be the tariffs, the enforcement of immigration policy, and everything else. and they are seeing firsthand the National Guard come into their cities and cleaning it up, and all of a sudden, wow, there's jobs available because all the illegal immigrants are gone. So they're seeing firsthand exactly what the policies have done of the Democrats, and they are shifting either moderate or even some turning Republican. So it is basically they are stuck inside their echo chamber and refusing to look out the window, and they're not actually seeing the people who are beginning to walk to the other side of the street. So she is actually pigeonholing herself, but it is rhetoric, and it is going to galvanize some of her side to begin to actually move toward the more violent areas. So
yeah, but she even references though that this is who we are, like the collective movement that she belongs to. At what point do you consider that, like, I mean, until it's like some more centralized or formal, it still looks like a freaking terrorist cell network.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I completely agree with that.
Because if you keep going the same direction and you play the long game, you just keep breeding and replacing, cities at a time until you get enough power, and then you get a governorship, and then you get a couple of House seats. That's all that it takes.
Mm-hmm.
And just think about how effective they are with the level of deceit that they present, just because of the amount of money that they have behind it.
Yeah, but that's also going to begin, if you believe what's coming out of the White House and the FBI and Kash Patel, that's going to begin to start drying up, because supposedly they're launching a ridiculous amount of investigations against those who have been funding all these left-wing policies. I do adamant believe personally that they are doing it because Trump is basically given the direct order, and he will be keeping up on it. And the fact that he's been coming out and saying, all the stuff he's been saying about Obama, he literally called him a traitor.
I saw that.
Yeah. Treason. He actually used the actual T word, treason. He called him what he did was treason. So he directly accused him. A sitting president directly accused a previous sitting president of treason, and officially, openly, with proof. So, or at least saying he has proof. So
again, that bothers me, right? That bothers me.
What specifically?
All of it. Just because if you have that information, why is there not like a trial? Why is there not accountability? I understand the process is slow. I also think the process is too slow sometimes, but then other times it's a good thing the process is this slow, because if it was moving faster, some of the other crazy shit would have gotten through, right? So
it's all about timing.
It's all about political leverage for the midterms or the next election. I don't think it's about doing the right thing. I think it's about being convenient for the next political piece of the puzzle. And that's what I fucking hate about the whole system.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, personally, I agree that if something is, that they should be brought to light, and regardless of the fallout, it should be excised and done. 100%. Same thing with the Epstein list. However, there is an argument to be made that doing things for the greater good, I mean, from within this framework, the thought of the greater good, by holding off and playing, chess and making certain moves at certain times to get the best possible outcome for whatever argument you're trying to make or whatever you're trying to do, is valid. But again, personally, I think that, again, once something is known, it should be brought to light and it should be handled immediately. Let the country come together as a whole and see the reality of the situation. And of course, the problem is that from my own personal framework, I can handle the situation. Regardless of what happens, I can handle it. I'll make the adjustments. I have the maturity, the knowledge, and the ability to make the appropriate adjustments I need to in my own life. The problem is not everyone does.
Mm-hmm.
And that is probably one of the primary reasons that they haven't just come out and released everything yet, because from what I understand from my own research and what I've heard, again, it's, I don't have direct access to anything. They say claim I don't have direct access to anything. if they were to come out and release everything that they have at once, or what they have now, just come out and release it, this country would go straight into a civil war. So they're trying to do a metered approach, I think, but it's all about timing.
I understand that, and see,
again, I don't necessarily agree with it, but that's probably what they're doing.
I think this goes into kind of like, have you ever watched Death Note?
Oh yeah, I've watched the whole thing.
Now, many people would say that Kira's view of justice would be juvenile, very childish-like, and I think even L or N picks up on that, has a line in there regarding it, and it's true, because if you look at it, if you just draw the line and you play God, you can do that. But the truth isn't always that simple, kind of how, we reference, I think, just in second or third week, and we'll probably get into it a little bit later too. The Epstein list, still missing. No one's talking about it. Super blackmail heavy, world changing information, but keeps getting obscured, keeps getting hidden, tied to countries that for some reason keep hiding shit. I don't know if I don't know if I can agree with it's the metered approach, because the metered approach is how you get snowflakes.
I 100% agree. That kind of actually starts to begin to travel down the QAnon, or the Q. They like, not you, like the quote unquote military operation Q from 4chan. And I've been doing a lot of research on that, because there have been a lot of posts from 2017, 2018 that have been coming out that are, it's I don't even know how to describe this. Too coincidental. And there is interpretation being done, but some of it was too exact. And so when I use the term delta, like you would think as a delta as it was making a post in 2017, but it's applying to today, so that it's 7 to 8 year difference.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been talking about the Q delta. It's as if someone was writing a script and putting it out there, and that goes to that whole time travel thing with Barron and all the other stuff. But the fact that multiple things have happened, to include Trump going to South Korea and then to China on the deltas, like that just happened yesterday and the day before. So this might be just a big military operation, a script that's being followed, and they put out the script to let everyone know what was happening and what's coming. And if the script is true, this week is going to be a good one. But again, not necessarily saying I agree with it, but there's something happening.
I think that I have a post that references that, or maybe connects the line. It's interesting that we're ending up on some of these topics. Look at what we have this week. From another post from Libs of TikTok, the Democrat activists planning a D.C. takeover. Their plan? Surround the White House, Capitol building, and Supreme Court with millions of protesters and refuse to leave. Good luck. Trump must go now. We cannot wait for election cycles. I'm pretty sure everyone will. That's called an insurrection, isn't it?
Prediction.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna make a prediction real quick.
Yeah.
This won't happen. Something is going to happen before the 5th that will basically not allow this to happen.
Interesting.
I'm not saying I'm right, but I don't think this is going to happen.
All right, let me see here.
Yep.
Let's see. We see the 5th is Wednesday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So 3 days. It's either that or it'll be a total flop. Honestly, I can't predict stuff like this. Like this stuff is like, I'm usually on the opposite end of it. So it's usually
Well, I mean, it's the whole a broken clock is right twice a day. The problem is that the predictions I make are very heavy, very large. And the 2 times it's right is still catastrophic.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's, eventually, if you make a prediction enough times, eventually over the course of infinity, one will come true.
Oh, that's just like they say if you have enough monkeys in a room typing, eventually they'll type out like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
No.
Yeah. But anyways, I just want to make that quick prediction. Go ahead.
November 5th in Washington, D.C., the largest sustained protest in Washington, D.C.'s history. This needs to be what happens right now. We're organizing millions of people to get to Washington, D.C., stand and surround the White House, surround the Capitol building, surround the illegitimately fascist Supreme Court, and not stop until the Trump regime is driven from power. We start on the 5th, we go to the 6th, we go to the 7th, we go to the 8th. We keep pushing every day, building and growing our numbers until masses of people are standing around the White House, around the Capitol building, around this fascistly packed Supreme Court until we drive the Trump fascist regime from power. Like I said, I'm with Carlos. We can't.
How do you do that if you have a job? Although, to be fair, the federal workers, all the people losing their jobs to AI, bad timing.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it's going to get. Yeah, that's a good point. I was actually thinking the fact that these people don't realize is that Trump was elected, and he got majority over everything in every aspect he could think of when it comes to voting in elections. So they are outnumbered, but like it goes back to the quote from earlier that people just want to be left alone. These people are not, so they're banking on the fact that people want to be left alone, and they're basically those who are the people pulling the strings behind, I suspect, are hoping that they can get enough leverage, enough power, and enough momentum to override when those who want to be left alone decide to act. So it's a race right now. And I have to say right now, the left is not, I don't want to say they're winning, but neither is the right. So it's still very...
The right's not winning because the right's retarded.
Yes, but I can also, I can say the same thing about the left. It really depends, again, the framework and the perspective. But right now, I would say that they both have equal footing. The difference is that the right actually has a military arm. Not necessarily like government military, but the right actually has a military arm.
Left has Antifa.
The left does too with Antifa.
Yeah.
Antifa, but that is also in the process of being dismantled. So there's kind of there's status quo right now, but I think that's going to be broken in the next few days. So.
See, I don't think that there's a status quo. I think that it's no. I think that they're losing. I guess maybe can you elaborate on where you see the status quo at? Maybe that's where I'm not seeing it.
Because there have been protests, because this kind of thing is actually being allowed. Until the point where they begin to crack down and actually act and use the Insurrection Act, it's a status quo. Because there isn't anything has actually been done yet. So yeah, they are quote unquote cracking down. They're are arresting, Antifa members and everything else, and they have officially classified it as an international terrorist organization. So they now have, the broader enforcement powers with that. But you haven't really heard too much about that here recently, other than the fact that like in Portland or whatever, it's been broken down. So the Antifa rhetoric has severely decreased, primarily through the mainstream media and people who are covering it. So they are shifting. That's the thing. It's the reason why there's a status quo is because any move the right makes, the left will counter it. It has been countering it and will continue to counter it until there's an insurrection. And then that's when the actual fight will begin. So that's status quo, in my opinion.
So that could be November 5th.
That could be that could be the beginning of it, but I do again think that something is going to happen beforehand where it will give enough excuse for Trump to completely officially use the Insurrection Act and all those quick response forces that Pete Hegseth ordered of the National Guard of all 50 states will begin to be employed. You'll see more National Guard moving to more specific areas, and he's already begun doing that. The stage is set, or is being set, and almost is complete, and for the Insurrection Act to actually be to the full powers of it, to the full authority across the country to be used.
But if that plug is pulled at the same time, you may as well go ahead and make sure that, because if you do that, you have to clear the shit out that needs to be cleared out. And like, not necessarily like in a dead way, just needs to be removed from the areas that don't need to be there. Like the corruption, right? The corruption needs to not be there.
Well, I think Asmongold said it really well. I'm not going to say best, but said it really well, is that you have to completely, actually, I guess it'd be Nick Freitas or whatever you say his name, said, in Asmongold basically agreed, is that you have to completely destroy the other side, because if they are allowed to gain power back, they will come back and destroy you. I think you said this too earlier.
Yep.
So the problem is how far is Trump going to go? I don't know whether it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, whether or not an actual full-on civil war or insurrection is going to happen. But something is going to happen very soon. And I've been predicting it for years. I just haven't known, what the catalyst was going to be or when it was going to happen. I just saw the plan. I've seen, just too many things going again to that damn.
It sounds like you're acknowledging that. It sounds like you're acknowledging the bigger picture, because like the way that I don't want it to get like referenced is like, just because like it's hard to say something is going to happen, but there's no way you can tell when. But you can say you acknowledge the patterns of like pieces moving, and then over a long, and it's just because our ability to comprehend time, because I don't remember shit that happened last week. I don't remember shit that happened yesterday. I'm not going to remember shit that happened 6 years ago. Right. You get so far removed from those big pieces moving that it's hard to piece that together.
And I'm very well trained, I should say, in order to be able to do that, to see the big picture, to begin to remember and place tags on various things where I begin to see connections. Truth be told, some of the connections are just because I think too deeply about things, and because if you think deep enough about things, you will come and find connections that don't actually exist. But that is something I recognize within myself, and I do see and I do pull back on. That's one of the reasons why I say that something is going to happen. I don't mean like it 100% certainty, is that I do have a firm belief that something will happen based upon the information that I have right now.
There seems to be plenty of indicators that that's moving. It's just, it's very hard to ever pin down. Like, this is exactly going to be the case. I mean, is it?
Yeah.
Do you think that it's reasonable? I mean, hell, just even in DC last night, the National Guard couldn't do anything against the teens or young people that were, I guess, causing problems.
Yeah. Sorry, what's the question?
I forgot.
Be sure to follow and subscribe.